green fragrance of growing things, the sweet perfume of ripening fruit hanging heavy on the vine. You can almost taste the golden light as it filters through the leaves above, dappling the ground beneath your feet in shifting patterns of brightness and shadow. Gravel grunges softly underfoot, tiny stones rolling and settling with each gentle step along the vineyard path. The sound is rhythmic, meditative, like walking on a beach of miniature pebbles warmed by hours of sunshine. Each footfall releases the faint scent of dust and dried herbs, rosemary, thyme, wild lavender, growing at the edges of the cultivated rose. The figure moves gracefully between the vines. Sophie, her broad-brimmed hat casting a circle of shade across her face, her fingertips trailing along the rough bark of the vine posts as she walks. The texture is weathered, aged by seasons of sun and rain, each post telling its own story through the gentle ridges and valleys carved by time. Her notebook rests against her palm, pages filled with careful observations, the paper soft and slightly warm from being held close to her body. She pauses frequently, kneeling beside the vines to examine the grape clusters more closely, her breath catching slightly as she discovers each perfect detail. The way the morning dew still clings to some leaves despite the afternoon heat, creating tiny prisms that scatter rainbow fragments across her hands. The sound of her pen across paper is almost musical, a gentle scratching rhythm as she captures her thoughts. The ink flowing smoothly, words appearing Sophie's, these belonging to Daniel, whose camera hangs like a familiar weight against his chest. The leather strap, soft and supple from years of use. He moves with the patient rhythm of someone who sees the world in frames, who understands that the most beautiful moments often happen in the spaces between intended actions. The camera clicks softly, a sound like a whispered secret, as he captures the interplay of light and shadow on the vine leaves. Each photograph preserves a single heartbeat of time, the way late afternoon sunlight transforms ordinary moments into something precious, something worth remembering. His fingers adjust the lens with practiced precision. The metal, warm from the sun, the focus ring turning with the smallest whisper of movement. Through the viewfinder, the world becomes a composition of textures. The rough bark of the posts, the smooth curves of the grape clusters, the delicate veins running through each leaf like tiny rivers of green light. Two paths converge in the gentle way that meaningful things often do, without fanfare, without dramatic music, simply one moment flowing into the next, like wine poured from a careful hand. Sophie's gentle movement through the vines, Daniel's patient observation, both drawn to the same. They rise almost simultaneously, as if responding to some unheard signal, and begin walking side by side along the vineyard path. Their footsteps find a natural rhythm together, softly beneath their feet, the sound doubling but somehow harmonizing, creating a gentle percussion against the afternoon stillness. The grape leaves brush against their shoulders as they walk, a whispered caress, the texture soft and slightly waxy, warmed by hours of sunshine. Each leaf carries its own subtle perfume, green and alive, mixed with the earthy sweetness of the soil below and the honey-warm scent of ripening fruit. Sophie's notebook remains open in her hands, pages fluttering slightly in the gentle breeze that moves between the fine rows. The paper makes the softest rustling sound, like autumn leaves settling, as she occasionally pauses to add a word, a phrase, a description of this perfect afternoon that seems to stretch endlessly before them. They turn into a row that seems more secluded than the others. The vines taller here, more mature, their canopy creating a living tunnel of green light. The world narrows to this perfect corridor, this intimate space where sunlight filters down in gentle beams, where the air holds still and warm, where time seems to slow to match their unhurried pace. The fine leaves create a natural ceiling above their heads, rustling so softly it's barely audible, like the whisper of silk against silk. Occasionally a leaf drifts down, spinning slowly through the golden air. The path opens onto a stone terrace, ancient limestone, worn smooth by countless seasons, warm beneath their feet, even through their shoes. the sky beginning its slow transformation from afternoon blue to evening gold. Wine is poured, the sound liquid and musical, a gentle cluck, cluck, cluck that speaks of abundance, of celebration, of moments worth savoring. The wine catches the light, swirls gently in the glasses, releases its bouquet into the warm air. Notes of earth and fruit, of sunshine captured and transformed, of time itself made tangible. Sophie lifts her glass, the wine catching the light like liquid garnets, and breathes in its fragrance. The scent is complex, layered, beginning with bright notes of cherry and ending with deeper tones of earth, of oak, of the very soil from which these grapes grew. The wine touches her lips, cool at first, then warming, the flavors unfolding. They leave the terrace as the sun begins its slow descent toward the horizon, their feet carrying them along paths lined with herbs and flowers. Lavender brushes against their legs, releasing its purple perfume with each gentle touch, the scent rising around them like incense, like nature's own aromatherapy. Rosemary grows wild here, its needle-like leaves releasing their sharp, clean fragrance when accidentally brushed, mixing with the softer scents of thyme, of sage, of wild mint growing in the damper soil near the irrigation channels. Sophie's fingers trail through the herb gardens, her touch so gentle it barely disturbs the plants, but enough to release their essences into the warm air around them. roses climbing wooden trellises. Evening approaches. They wander back into the vineyard proper as the light begins to change, becoming richer, more golden, casting longer shadows between the vine rows. The grapes seem to glow from within, each cluster a small lantern of purple light, ready for harvest, heavy with the accumulated sweetness of the entire growing season. Daniel's fingers find the fine leaves, touching them gently, feeling their substance, their vitality, the way they've spent months converting sunlight into sugar, air into wine, time into something precious. The leaves are warm, sun-soaked, carrying the heat of the day in their very cells. They walk deeper into the vineyard, following paths that wind between the rows like rivers of packed earth, their footsteps soft and unhurried. The vines part suddenly, opening onto a clearing that offers an unobstructed view of the entire valley, the vineyard spreading below them like a green tapestry, the distant hills layered in shades of purple and blue, the sky beginning its evening transformation from gold to rose to deep amber. They stand side by side, breathing in the view, the warm air carrying the mingled scents of grape and earth, of wild herbs and distant wood smoke, of all the elements that make this place magical, timeless, perfect for moments like this. Sophie's notebook closes softly, the sound barely audible, as she realizes that some experiences transcend description, exist beyond words, live most fully in the space between heartbeats, in the pause between breaths, sun hangs lower now, no longer the bright disk of afternoon, but a gentle orb of burnished gold, painting everything it touches with warm honey light. The grape leaves glow, translucent and perfect, like stained glass windows in nature's own cathedral. Shadows stretch longer between the vine rows, creating cool corridors of purple shade that contrast beautifully with the golden spaces where sunlight still reaches the earth. The entire vineyard seems to pulse with warm light, breathing. Daniel sets his camera aside completely, places it gently on a vine post where it will rest safely, forgotten. Because his hands want to be free, want to feel the warm air, want to experience this moment with every sense, rather than capturing it for later. Some photographs exist only in memory, only in the heart, and those are often the most precious. Something shifts in the golden air between them, a barely perceptible change, like the moment when a held breath is finally released, when a decision makes itself, when the universe leans in to witness something beautiful beginning. Sophie turns slightly toward him, her movement so gradual it seems like a natural response to the changing light, her face catching the golden glow, her eyes reflecting the warm colors of the sunset that has begun to paint the sky. Her hand moves, almost unconsciously, settling against her chest, feeling the quickened rhythm of her heartbeat. Daniel's breathing deepens, becomes more conscious, space between them disappears like morning mist, naturally, inevitably, their lips meeting in a kiss that tastes of wine and sunshine, of lavender and possibility, of all the golden moments that led to this single perfect instant. The kiss deepens slowly, gently, with the unhurried rhythm of summer itself. Sophie's hand finding his shoulder, feeling the warmth of his skin through the soft fabric of his shirt. Daniel's palm settling against the small of her back, drawing her closer, creating a connection that feels as natural as breathing. Time stops, or perhaps expands. The golden light holding them suspended in this perfect moment. The warm air caressing their skin, the distant sound of birds settling for the evening, the gentle rustle of grape leaves in the softest breeze. All of it creating a symphony of sensation that surrounds their kiss like a blessing. They separate slowly, reluctantly, their foreheads nearly touching, their breathing synchronized, sharing the same warm air, the same golden light, the same perfect moment that will live forever in memory. Sophie's eyes remain closed for a heartbeat longer, savoring the taste of the kiss, the feeling of connection, the way the entire world seems to have shifted on its axis, become more beautiful, more meaningful, more alive with possibility. Daniel's thumb traces gently across her cheek, the touch so light it's barely there, more suggestion than pressure. His eyes memorizing every detail of her face in the golden light. The way her skin sound of two people moving in harmony through a world that has become more beautiful, more meaningful, more precious. The terrace glows with lantern light now, tiny points of gold scattered across the limestone like earthbound stars, their warm glow mixing with the last rays of sunlight, creating layers of golden illumination that make everything magical, enchanted, perfect for new love to take root and grow. They pause at the edge of the vineyard, looking back at the rows of vines that witnessed their first kiss, that held their first moments of connection like a secret garden, like a sacred space where something beautiful began, something that will grow like the vines themselves, slowly, surely, with proper care and infinite possibility. As full evening settles over the valley, as the last light fades from golden to purple to deep blue, they know this is not an ending, but a beginning. The first page of a story that will unfold like the seeds